life, but I can assure you it's more than that. There are certain things we don't put on the CV, but we also tend to portray who we are. But let me start on a very, very subtle note. That is how pleased I am to actually meet with civil society today to discuss this important aspect of the UPR review by civil society, which we think is a key responsibility of us in the cause of supporting humanity in wherever we go. So, Ministry of Justice, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs, the chairperson of the Zimbabwe Human Rights Commission, representatives of National NGO Forum, representatives Zimbabwe Human Rights NGO Forum, representatives Zimbabwe Lawyers for Human Rights, representatives of civil society organizations, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor to address you today as you gather to review how far Zimbabwe has come in implementing the recommendations from the Universal Periodic Review conducted in 2022. As you are all aware, the UPR process, in short, involves periodic reviews by the UN Human Rights Commissions, where member states receive recommendations from other countries on how to improve their human rights records. Since these reviews were established, Zimbabwe has participated in all the UPR cycle, with the latest review done in 2022. In addition, Zimbabwe, as far as my knowledge goes, has diligently and voluntarily submitted mid-term reports, and for this the government should be commended. It's not everywhere you get governments reporting on UPR, so a little bit of hand is put. It is my hope that they will continue this best practice and submit a mid-term review ahead of the country's review in January 2027. Ladies and gentlemen, mid-term reports, while voluntary, provide the state with the opportunity to take stock of the progress made in implementing the recommendations from the previous reviews and generally in the various areas of human rights, with the view of ensuring that steps are taken to move forward on implementing those recommendations that are lagging behind. Friends, ladies and gentlemen, the UPR process, as all of you are aware here, is instrumental in promoting and protecting human rights globally. And civil society organizations are crucial to its success, as they are at the forefront of human rights advocacy and monitoring. Civil society organizations' participation in the UPR process ensures a comprehensive and accurate assessment of a country's human rights situation. CSO, in short, provide valuable information that might not be available through official channels, including first-hand accounts of human rights abuses and the impact of government policies on the ground. By submitting alternative reports, civil society organizations offer a vital counter-narrative to state submissions, ensuring that the UPR process remains balanced and inclusive. In Zimbabwe, the CSO has been instrumental in highlighting critical issues, and their contributions have led to several key outcomes. Their reports have brought enhanced visibility to certain human rights issues and resulted in bringing pressure to bear on government to take action. Alternative reports submitted by CSO also contain detailed policy recommendations, which provide a roadmap for improving human rights, and often these policy recommendations are incorporated into the final recommendations. Crucially, however, civil societies in Zimbabwe contribute to empowering local communities by involving them in reporting process, and so doing, empower citizens to understand and advocate for their rights. These grassroots involvements is essential for sustainable human rights improvements. Ladies and gentlemen, as we go about doing our human rights work, we need to continuously remind ourselves that human rights and the SDGs are two sides of the same coin. As such, the effective implementation of UPR recommendations will significantly accelerate the achievement of the SDGs by promoting human rights, strengthening institutions, and fostering inclusive development. For Zimbabwe, integrating the UPR recommendations into national development strategies will also ensure that the SDGs are achieved in a manner that respects and upholds human rights for all citizens. Therefore, friends, colleagues, as we gather here to review the progress made by the government in implementing the UPR recommendation thus far, let us not forget to make the linkage that exists between human rights and the Sustainable Development Goals. It is very important that we take cognizance of the progress made and that we collectively work together to ensure continued improvements. Inevitably, there will be areas where we all fall short. These will require that the government, as the duty bearer, goes beyond implementing the UPR recommendation and addresses the root causes of human rights violations and governance issues. To conclude, I would like to emphasize that despite the significant challenges civil society organizations may face, they continue to play a crucial role in promoting and protecting human rights. The participation of civil society organizations in the Universal Periodic Review of Zimbabwe is welcome and strongly encouraged. By providing vital information, advocating for policy changes, and empowering local communities, civil society contributes to ensuring that the UPR process remains robust and effective. Consequently, it is imperative that we support and strengthen all stakeholders involved in the UPR process. By doing so, we can help create a more just, equitable, and human rights respecting various rights in Zimbabwe. Under our peace pillar of the Zimbabwe United Nations Cooperation Framework 2022 to 2026, signed with the government of Zimbabwe, we are keen to ensuring two key outputs. One, that Zimbabwe continues to report to international treaty bodies and as such related mechanisms, and that recommendations from commitments in normative frameworks, including the UPR, are implemented. The UN entities that are signatory to the cooperation framework and have the requisite mandates are available to offer the technical, policy, and advisory services necessary to achieve these objectives. With these few words, I would like to take this opportunity to commend NANGO, Zimbabwe Human Rights NGO Forum, and Zimbabwe Lawyers for Human Rights for organizing this workshop and wish you a fruitful deliberation. I was strictly warned not to talk outside the script. So forgive me, there are other things I will say, but I have to give you scope to analyze what I was mandated to say. But just to leave you with one thing, it's very difficult to keep my mouth shut. I mean, human rights are enshrined in the constitution of most countries. I think the missing link is how do we support governments to implement the tenets of the various constitutions that they have promulgated in consultation with their citizens. Civil society is not an enemy to government. Civil society, at best, is part of governance. And my appeal is, there is always a room for dialogue, and there is always a room for engagement. And I'm sure, with that spirit, nothing is impossible. Let me be frank. At the end of the day, friends, we are all brothers and sisters. Nobody is going to change cause in this country without your full support and participation. That is the enviable role of civil society. And that is what we admire about civil society. But we need to be proactive, and we also need to speak with the spirit to engage, and we need to speak with the spirit to protect rights. And those rights are so critical for society to function effectively. You know, I better stop or else my human rights advisor is going to say I've spoken out of script. Thank you very much.